Franchot Blue. I am downtown Chicago, Mayor's office. Happy Friday, 24th of October. 24th of October. I am live, City Hall. Mayor Brandon Johnson will be speaking, holding a conference about immigration. Again, this is Franchot Pearson. Welcome to Franchot Blue. I am downtown Chicago, City Hall. Mayor Brandon. We are awaiting Brandon Johnson, Mayor Brandon Johnson, on a Friday, the 24th of October. Happy Friday. Franchot Blue reporting. We are awaiting Brandon Johnson. I got to be extra quiet because I am at the mayor's office, City Hall, downtown Chicago. We are covering live the migrant press conference against ICE, and against Trump, the treatment of migrants in Illinois, and also the suburbs. The economic plight of the migrants and the overall treatment of the migrants. Political figures from around Illinois are here, and this will be a live press conference. It should be live shortly. So just remind people in the chat, because I won't be able to speak once I'm back inside. Just let people know I'm at a live press conference here, downtown Chicago. Mayor Johnson speaking on the treatment of the migrants in Illinois, specifically Chicago. Another day the Lord has made. Let us be glad in it. So yes. Nice fall day here in Illinois. Hopefully I can cover enough of these conferences during the winter time. City Hall press conference. Tony Perkwinkle and the mayor's office downtown. Slated to have a meeting any minute. The press is here. All things Trump, all things migrant, how they're being treated in Illinois. So I'm in the hallway right now. I'll be going into the press conference in a minute. It was scheduled for 11 o'clock. Now they're saying 11:30, so we'll wait it out. Got about maybe 6 minutes. Okay, so I think I'm going to go inside because CD might be limited in a minute. Let me take a peek, looking in right quick. Hold tight. Let's see. Okay, it hasn't started yet, so we're just awaiting. We're awaiting the press conference. The press conference here in Chicago, Illinois. City Hall press conference. All things migrants, all things Trump, all things ICE. So yeah, trying to make sure I'm not in violation right now, but I'm in the hallway waiting on the start of the press conference. Downtown Chicago, City Hall. All right, people, I'm going to go inside because I don't want to be a distraction, but let people know that I am live because I'm not going to be able to talk. They'll probably kick me out. So again, City Hall, downtown, mayor's office, Brandon. We'll listen to the mayor, see what he has to say, okay? So you guys just hold tight. The press conference should start any minute. Good morning to everybody. Thank you. Okay, we are here front and center. Good morning, everybody. Good morning.
The building next up is on the county side of City Hall. Yeah. Yeah, for conference. Maybe they were testing for a hearing. And I think that's what we're listening to because when I was going to the conference room, they were hustling profit out of the room to the airport. They're training. Yeah. Because she was here earlier anyway for the flavor, you know, for 6 Friday. Okay, well, depending on how long this
So we are waiting. We are awaiting Brandon Johnson. Brandon Johnson, Mayor of Chicago, downtown Chicago, City Hall, migrant crisis, Trump and ICE, Mayor's office, downtown Chicago, City Hall. Covering the news conference live here in Chicago, Friday. It should be starting any minute. Thank you. I'm not sure if I'm going to ask him a question. I know, right? I might.
Because that was like the echo.
So we are awaiting the mayor. We are awaiting the mayor, Mayor Johnson, downtown Chicago, City Hall, migrant crisis, ICE and Trump. The press conference should start momentarily. So again, we are patiently waiting on the Mayor of Chicago, Brandon Johnson, all things Trump, all things illegals, all things migrants, ICE. Press conference Friday, City Hall, press conference this morning. Please hit the thumbs up, please. Thank you. We are live right here in Chicago.
Right, right, that's why I said.
You know how it is, sir.
We are waiting. Brandon Johnson, Mayor of Chicago, City Hall press conference. Migrants, awaiting the press conference to start any minute. City Hall, Chicago. Press conference. Migration against Trump and ICE. Awaiting the Mayor of Chicago, big meeting today. They're going to share the meeting with us about what they talked about. Okay, the major people are flanking in, so it should be any minute. The major people are flanking in right now. City Hall, Chicago, Mayor Brandon. Migrant crisis discussion, big meeting, City Hall today, downtown Chicago.
Okay, fantastic. Thank you. Hi, Keith. It's so nice to meet you. Thank you so much for staying. I think we and I were just switching over our live stream feed. So as soon as that's finished, we'll be ready to go. My boss is just all right. But she's gonna kind of like take the question and say, "Oh, let's answer it." So that's what I would assume a lot of questions for you.
Are you Alexandra? Hi, I'm Sabina Byerly. I work at the Congress of Video Innovators. Oh, hi. Yes, I heard from our accounts director that you're looking for a little foresight post the press. Okay. So we do have a very quick turnaround on an event that we got to be running after, but I'm really trying to. Oh, you don't. Amazing. Okay, great. She knows that we're going to have a conversation. We've connected. Okay, great. This is going to happen. Can I ask a question?
So we are awaiting the mayor of Chicago, Mayor Brandon. Mayor Brandon. Big meeting about Donald Trump and ICE and how the migrants are being treated in Illinois, specifically Chicago.
We can all be more connected. Never a bad thing.
Major politicians are here for a meeting, and they will share that information with us today with the media.
I prefer not a compliment.
I know, but
People think he's small, but yeah. I always say my grandpa is
Hey, guys.
great songs forever. Yes, it's fun. the rating is flying tomorrow.
How does it look?
That's why it's supposed to be mothballs.
Greg won't stop sniffing. He has a problem. Every time I look over, it's like,
This sweater is heavy.
we left them both them all. I was thinking it was just
Okay, Mayor Brandon Johnson has arrived. The conference is about to start.
No, as far as I know, but he's here. Yeah, I see him standing in front. Yeah, they reference that a little bit. In fact, the first time I was earlier.
In the right park, not necessarily that address. Yes, I mean, this is.
Yeah, yeah. I mean,
Good morning, everybody.
okay, I got notes.
Thank you all so much for being here. Mayor Johnson, Cook County Board President Tony Preckwinkle, thank you for having us here in the city. I am Congresswoman Pramila Jayapal. I represent Washington State's 7th Congressional District. I also serve as the ranking member or the top Democrat on the Immigration Subcommittee. And in that role, we have been conducting shadow hearings in Washington, D.C. This is our first one outside of Washington, D.C., to bring accountability, to shine a light on what is happening in Chicago, across the country, with Donald Trump's lawless, corrupt, violent, and inhumane actions that are being carried out on the streets of Chicago and across the country. We have the largest grouping of Democratic members of Congress that we have had doing oversight action right here in Chicago. And I want to thank the members, 19 members strong, that have shown up for 2 days here in Chicago to hear from people what is happening on the ground, to have roundtables. We had a roundtable yesterday with directly impacted people. We had a roundtable yesterday with leaders in the rapid response community who are trying to respond to the devastation, the terror, the trauma, and the fear that they see in their communities unfolding before their very eyes. We have another roundtable after this with business owners to really showcase the impact on the economy here in Chicago. And we have another roundtable with educators, because our kids are not showing up to school because they're afraid. And when people can be tear gassed just blocks away from a school, it sends terror into the hearts of everybody. None of this is disconnected from the abuses of power, the corruption that we see on so many levels. House Democrats have been fighting to make sure that we protect the health care of 22 million Americans who are seeing their premiums double and triple because of this lawless administration. We have been working to make sure that we swear in Adelita Grijalva from the state of Arizona so that we can hold the Republicans accountable and make them release all the Epstein files. And we have been doing the work on immigration, despite the fact that we have no official channel to do it because Republicans refuse to do that. We are here to say that we stand in solidarity with the communities across Chicagoland, across the country, in other cities like LA, Washington, DC, Portland, Oregon, and with all the residents, regardless of immigration status, who are being caught up in this horrific war that the Trump administration is waging on our own cities, on our own residents. We're not backing down, and this is just one example of how we will continue to hold this administration accountable. I want to just read out the members, some of whom you'll hear from today, that are here, and just recognize their presence from the state of Illinois, and great partners, leaders in setting up this hearing and in all the work we do in Congress. Representatives Chuy Garcia, Representative Delia Ramirez, Representative Robin Kelly, and Representative Danny Davis, in whose district we stand. Thank you for your friendship and your leadership in setting up these hearings. Also want to recognize that our House Democratic Caucus Chair is with us, Chairman Aguilar from the state of California. Members of the Judiciary Committee that are here with us, Representative Becca Ballant, Representative Jasmine Crockett, Representative Sidney Comlager Dove, Representative Mary Gay Scanlon, Representative, and those are the Judiciary Committee members. And let me go through the rest of them that are here as well. Representative Sean Casten, the chairman of the Congressional Hispanic Caucus is with us, Adriano Espaillat from New York, Representative Bill Foster from Illinois, Representative Sylvia Garcia from Texas, Representative Jonathan Jackson from Illinois, Representative Roger Krishnamurti from Illinois, Representative Mike Quigley from Illinois, Representative Jan Schakowsky from Illinois, and Representative Rashida Tlaib from Michigan. Thank you all so much for making the time to be with us today. Now let me recognize Representative Chuy Garcia, who has played a leading role and serves on the Immigration Subcommittee with me.
Thank you, Ranking Member Jayapal, for coming to Chicago and being such a strong defender of immigrant rights and for pursuing good policy in the field of immigration for the future, for the present and future of America. I am most grateful to the members who have come to Chicago, 19 strong, coast to coast, LA to Chicago, New York, from Texas to the border with Canada. We are here because we care, and as they have arrived in Chicago, they have learned that Chicago is the country's oldest immigrant-friendly sanctuary city, proclaimed by Harold Washington via executive order, later codified and held strong by Mayor Brandon Johnson. President Tony Preckwinkle, instrumental in helping pass the nation's first ICE detainer ordinance that said, if you probable cause and you don't have a warrant, we will not honor any of your detainers. Because in America, due process is what matters. It mattered in 2011, Madam President, and it continues to matter more than ever in these days. We've heard the stories of real people affected by the atrocious policies of this administration. And as you saw 2 days ago in my neighborhood of 57 years in Little Village, and then again yesterday, we saw a little man lead an attack on a hardworking, studious, industrious community as he sprayed tear gas on people in our community. We reject these practices. We say no warrants, no due process, no names or faces, just terror. That's why Chicago, Cook County, and the state of Illinois remain strong, holding it firm and showing America that immigrants are good for our country. They are the past, present, and the future, and we stand with each and every one of them. Muy buenos días. Me agrada que nos acompañen 19 miembros de los demócratas en el Congreso de los Estados Unidos, demostrando el apoyo de costa a costa, de Texas a la frontera con Canadá. Somos fuertes, repudiamos las políticas de esta administración, seguimos firmes y vamos a prevalecer porque el derecho y el moral está de nuestro lado. Muchas gracias.
Thank you so much, Representative Garcia. Now let me introduce Representative Delia Ramirez, who has also been absolutely instrumental in holding this administration accountable on so many issues, including immigration.
I want to start by asking all of you to help me think a unapologetic truth teller, an immigrant herself, who every single day shows up fully herself fighting for our communities, and that's our ranking member, Congresswoman Pramila Jayapal. Thank you for convening this delegation here in Chicago in this Saturday. I'm really grateful for your leadership and your mentorship, especially as I navigate the halls of Congress. Today, colleagues of mine from all over the country heard from our community on the ground what we're experiencing, what we're living, the violent attacks by this invasion created by Donald Trump and Kristi Noem. Rapid responders, a few of them who came to listen, left halfway through the hearing because, again, our communities are under attack. At least 4 people in my district disappeared in the last hour and a half. This is happening all over the city, the northwest suburbs, and frankly, the entire state. It was so important for my colleagues to hear directly from the people themselves on the ground. Not from the politicians, although we love our politicians. I gotta give a big shout out to 2 leaders here with incredible moral clarity, President Tony Preckwinkle and our Mayor Brandon Johnson. Because you understand the assignment. You show up and you lead courageously every single day, and we're grateful for that. But I want to end in saying this, Chicago is not broken. Chicago will never be broken. And we will do everything in our power collectively with this delegation and with the leaders here today, with every elected, but more importantly, led by the grassroots people that don't need titles to do their work. They're just showing up with a whistle, with a phone, and a commitment to keep each other safe. May my colleagues take this conviction back as we remind those in leadership in Congress that it is our moral responsibility to defend our communities. And when they fail to do so, the community will rise and show up as they always have. I am committed to ensuring that every committee hearing, every opportunity, and in every place, we uplift the work in Chicago, and we do the work once we're in the majority so that we never arrive here again. Just 2 seconds in Spanish. Quiero agradecerle a la delegación que vino de todo el país, bajo el liderazgo de nuestra congresista aquí, Pramila Jayapal. El liderazgo también de otros que están aquí, como el congresista Adriano Espaillat, que es el líder del caucus latino en el Congreso, y también Pete Aguilar, que es el latino con más liderazgo también en el Congreso. Queremos recordar que lo que estamos viendo aquí en Chicago no es normal, pero es la responsabilidad de cada uno de nosotros para defender nuestras comunidades. No nos quebrarán, no nos han quebrado, y es la gente que está haciendo ese trabajo en este momento, literalmente en este momento, defendiendo nuestra comunidad, que les va a mostrar cómo salimos adelante. Así que no están solos, a trabajar y a pelear por nuestra comunidad, porque nos organizamos. Gracias.
Thank you so much, Representative Ramirez. You know, in these moments, we look to the leadership of great leaders who stand up and protect their cities. And there is no greater example of that than Mayor Brandon Johnson right here in Chicago, who has been standing up over and over again to the abuses of the Trump administration, and who is showing the rest of our cities across the country what that looks like and giving inspiration to all of us. Thank you so much, Mayor Johnson.
Mayor Johnson, City Hall will speak. Mayor Johnson will speak.
Organizations that Congresswoman Ramirez alluded to, the Illinois Coalition of Immigrant Rights, Executive Director Lawrence Benito, Genesis O, Pastor David Black, CFL President Bob Ryder, Palenque LSNA, Executive Director Juliet de Jesus Alejandre, and then, of course, the ACLU of Illinois Legal Director, Kevin Fee. I'm grateful that you all are here to shed light today on Trump's unlawful and increasingly aggressive actions taken against our city and cities across America. What we heard in the hearing today was alarming stories of protesters being attacked, children being traumatized, and communities living in fear because of an administration that believes in cruelty policy. It is beyond clear that the Trump administration doesn't care about Chicago's safety. In fact, he doesn't care about the American people at all. The President of the United States is actively silencing voices and violating the First Amendment. He is brazenly committing acts of war against the people of Chicago. With boots on the ground, efforts with a clear war on working people. And he has demonstrated this through tariffs, extreme budget cuts, and of course tax breaks for the ultra wealthy. He is trying to intimidate and erase immigrants and working people and anyone who believes in democracy and justice. But here's the good news. Trump cannot intimidate us. We will continue to work together and we will do it in unity. Our standing here today, standing here proudly, unapologetically, sends a very clear message to Donald Trump. Chicago will not be silenced. We will not bend. We will not cower, and we will certainly not break. Chicago is and always will be a city that believes in democracy and justice, a city that wholeheartedly embraces diversity of immigrant communities from around the globe. And what we are saying is that we are welcome in the city, and that is not just a slogan, but it's a promise. My administration wants the Protecting Chicago initiative to protect our communities against unlawful federal actions and ultimately to defend our nation's democracy. I'm committed to using every single tool that we have to make sure that we are protecting the people of Chicago. We are standing in union with community organizations, businesses, philanthropic community, activists, elected officials, and the faith community to do all that we can to protect and defend the constitutional rights of every single Chicago. We've done this through executive orders, through litigation, and peaceful demonstrations. We will continue to do that, but make no mistake, what we heard today in today's hearing is certainly frightening and distressing, but we cannot be afraid. We have to remain firm and committed to ensure that justice for all prevails. And so I'm grateful again that we have so many clear, conscientious leaders that recognize that even as Dr. King and Cesar Chavez and Mother Jones, they understood that we have to continue to fight for dignity, equality, and justice for all. And with that, I'm grateful to bring to the podium Cook County Board President Tony Preckwinkle.
Thank you, Mayor. Good morning.
Good morning.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Cook County is home to more than 5 million people who work hard, raise families, and contribute to the vitality of our communities. Many came here seeking safety and opportunity. And yet today, too many of our friends and neighbors no longer feel safe at home, at work, not even in public spaces. President Trump's decision to militarize ICE has set a dangerous precedent. Agents in masks are breaking into homes, carrying weapons downtown, kidnapping people in broad daylight. Individuals, regardless of their immigration status, are being targeted, and entire communities are living in fear. These actions have nothing to do with the safety of the American people. They're designed to spread fear. This isn't protection, it's intimidation. These extreme, un-American, and discriminatory actions by our own federal agents, ordered by President Trump, are cruel and indefensible. These are the actions of a president who has no respect for our laws, our values, and is actively working to undermine the very fabric of our democracy. I've signed an executive order on property and resources for civil immigration enforcement. And my administration will continue to use every tool and every resource at our disposal to fight the militarization of ICE. I'm proud to stand here today with a coalition of state and local leaders united in our resolve to defend our residents and uphold the values of justice and safety for all of our communities. Cook County will not tolerate injustice or the inhumane treatment of people who come here seeking safety and the chance to build a better life. America is a great nation because people have come from all over the world to make it so. Cook County is and will remain a welcoming county. We will continue to work every day to stand up for every resident, to ensure that every resident feels safe, respected, and valued. Now it's my pleasure to bring to the podium Representative Danny Davis. Is he still with us?
Yeah.
There he is.
Well, I am. Thank you very much, and let me first of all just thank Representative Joe Paul for bringing 19 members of the U.S. House of Representatives, all Democrats, to Chicago. And so I'm pleased to stand here with the mayor of my city, with the president of my Cook County board, and reaffirm that Chicago is a fight-back city, that under no circumstances will we stand and allow the illegal disrespect and disruption of our citizens. We recognize that immigrants have rights that should be protected, rights that should be respected each and every time and everywhere. Dr. King was known for saying that if you have injustice anywhere, it is a threat to justice everywhere. We don't intend for injustice to occur in Illinois, nor in the United States of America. So I thank my colleagues for helping us highlight what has taken place in Chicago, so that we can make sure that it does not continue and does not take place in other cities throughout America. Thank you all again.
Thank you, Representative Davis. Now let me bring up to the podium House Democratic Caucus Chair, Representative Pete Aguilar from California.
Thank you, Ranking Member Diapol and Mayor Johnson and Commissioners and President Preckwinkle, and my colleagues as well. Democrats are laser focused on ensuring everyone in our communities feels safe and secure from crime. But Donald Trump and his Republican henchmen, time and time again, have been more focused on demonizing the entire immigrant community rather than working on bipartisan solutions to improve public safety. From day one, we saw how unserious Donald Trump was when he pardoned 1,500 January 6th rioters from prison, many of whom were violent criminals, pedophiles, and domestic abusers. One of those charged even committed this week, threatened the life of Democratic leader Hakeem Jeffries. This shows the Trump administration's backwards priorities, pardoning violent criminals and going after people whose only crime is that they need to be undocumented. Instead of targeting criminals, President Trump is unleashing agents across this country and disappearing people off the streets without due process. In many cases, detaining U.S. citizens and law-abiding immigrants with no criminal history. In my community of San Bernardino, California, a masked immigration agent opened fire on an unarmed vehicle in the middle of a residential neighborhood. The person was so scared for their life, they called the local police department to ask for help. This failed approach to so-called immigration enforcement is not only wrong, but it's un-American. And it's dangerous because actual criminals can slip through the cracks while innocent people are punished. By targeting people and how they look and the language they speak, the Trump administration is causing chaos, inciting protests, and making it harder for law enforcement to do their jobs. This isn't about law and order, cruelty, and chaos. Let's not forget, Donald Trump and Republicans actually cut for law enforcement and public safety, not made it stronger. Democrats will continue to stand up and speak out against these cruel and dangerous actions and work tirelessly on ways that actually keep Americans safe. Thank you, Ranking Member Graham.
Thank you so much, Representative Aguilar. Now let me bring up my good friend and colleague, Representative Robin Kelly.
Thank you, Congressman Jayapal, for everything that you're doing. You deserve so much credit. And thank you to Mayor Johnson, and thank you to Cook County Board President Tony Preckwinkle for hosting us, and all of my colleagues, as you have heard, from New York to California. All businesses who came forward and all the people that are coming forward. One of my constituents, Genesis, shared the story of her mom, Laura Marino, who was arrested and detained by ICE while she was working. President Trump and Secretary Kristi Noem are spreading racist lies that immigrants are lazy and don't work. Well, guess what? They arrested her while she was working. We don't know why she was detained, but if Laura is deported to her home country, she has every reason to fear that she will be killed. Her son and her son's father were killed after being deported. I am demanding answers on behalf of Genesis and her family so they can be united with her mom. ICE is simply tearing families apart. Secretary Kristi Noem should be ashamed of herself for parading in front of cameras and treating ICE raids like a game show. That shows her ignorance and her incompetence. Federal agents invaded my district, the 2nd district, deployed drones and helicopters and used flashbang grenades to burst through an apartment building in the South Shore. In the 2nd district again, federal agents caused a dangerous car crash and then shot pepper balls and tear gas into a crowd of people. And the 2 people injured in the car crash worked for Genesis' mother. ICE Gestapo tactics hurt everyone, whether you're an immigrant or not. It hurts our democracy and traumatizes our neighborhood. Only a weak and dictator wannabe president needs to send troops to bully only Democratic cities and their residents. Democrats won't stay silent, and we will not give in. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Representative Kelly, and I hope everyone watches Genesis's very, very powerful testimony at the field hearing. It's really remarkable that we are in this situation where we hear stories like this. Let me bring up to the podium Representative Adriano Espaillat from New York, who is also the chair of the Congressional Hispanic Caucus.
Good afternoon, Chicago. I bring you greetings from New York, from Harlem, from Washington Heights, and the Bronx. This is yet another troubling day. What we witnessed here, the testimonies that we've heard. Masked agents, anonymous. Imagine if anybody comes to your home and knocks on your door without a first name or a last name or a shield number. You won't open up. You shouldn't open up. At the same time, sensitive locations like houses of worship are now subject to raids. We have little access to the detention centers, although the law guarantees us as duly elected members of Congress access to those centers. Tear gas, toxic fumes have been thrown even at members of our caucus, of the Congressional Hispanic Caucus. Senator Alex Padilla, a sitting member of the Senate from California, thrown on the ground. This is the state of affairs, the deployment of the National Guard, the weaponization of the Justice Department against the opponents of this wannabe dictator. These are all the characteristics of a dictatorship. America is not exempt from having a dictatorship. We have to fight back to preserve democracy. And we're here today as a step that shows that as a community, Chicago is fighting back, and Congress, the Democratic Caucus and the Congressional Hispanic Caucus, we're fighting back. And we will continue to fight back and go to each and every one of the cities across the country where this is occurring, including New York, where you had a raid on Canal Street just yesterday. Estamos aquí para apoyar a Chicago. Entendemos que somos solidarios con Chicago, que no debe suceder aquí lo que también está sucediendo en otras ciudades. Vamos a objetar la agresión de Donald Trump y vamos a objetar la agresión de ICE. Gracias.
Thank you so much, Chairman. Our last speaker today was a powerful witness at our shadow hearing and has been on the front lines, both affected himself, shot by rubber bullets while he was praying at a detention center, and also deeply embedded in the community, Senior Pastor David Black.
I stand before you today in service to the God of Abraham and Hagar, of Isaac and Ishmael, Father of my Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ. To God alone be all the glory, honor, and praise. Amen. I stand before you today in sackcloth and ashes because of the desolating sacrilege which is being perpetrated across this land in the name of my Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ. Let us be clear that Jesus Christ is wherever Jesus of Little Village is, as he suffers the effects of tear gas, as he suffers the tyranny and the terror of being abducted by federal agents who are anonymous and being held to no account. There are many who have characterized my acts and the acts of other protesters as acts of resistance. They're wrong. I am a pastor. I'm not a political activist. And I've gone to the ICE Broadview facility many times to pray and evangelize and call ICE agents to repentance. I want them to remember that when this administration is gone, and it will be gone, they will not be protected by those who use them to channel their own violent destruction into this country. I have come to Broadview all these weeks simply to proclaim what Jesus himself has said. The kingdom of God is at hand, and all of God's children are invited to turn from wickedness, to be saved from the principalities of evil in this world, and to let their weapons be melted and recast into tools for planting gardens and building homes. As an ordained minister in the Church of Jesus Christ, I, like him, am anointed and exhorted to bring good news to the poor, to proclaim the freedom of all captives, and to announce the year of Jubilee, that the new creation is at hand and soon will come. And I must exhort those of our elected leaders who are simply waiting to return to power, that we don't have time to wait. We do not have time to wait for the Trump administration to continue consolidating its power to an extent that will no longer be removable by free and fair elections. We need the action of our city and state governments now to protect those citizens who are stepping up and putting their bodies on the line, to protect our neighbors, our friends, our teachers, our community members. I invite and exhort all members of Congress present in Chicago today to stay, to go to Broadview today, to witness what we witnessed, to put their bodies, to join rapid response teams, which are heroically keeping our safe. Powers to bear, which the city, state, and congressional, these powers have to keep our city, our community, might one day again be a land that is looked to for a vision of justice and liberation. May God have mercy on the United States of America.
Thank you, Pastor. We have a little bit of time for questions, so I'll open it up and invite any of our colleagues here to answer.
Hi, I have two questions.
And if you can just identify who you are.
My name is Shia Kappas. I'm with Politico. I have two questions for the mayor of Costco. First, it looks like the Justice Department has filed an appeal regarding sanctuary status. Another one was already ruled, and now we've got an appeal. The second thing, if I can deviate, can you talk about what's happening in Springfield? Are you guys heading down there?
Well, as far as, the Trump's administration's commitment to undermining local authority, our entire legal division will continue to put forth the strongest case to protect our city as a welcoming city. And here's what that simply means, is that as a city, our local law enforcement will not dub as federal ICE agents. And we believe that's necessary in order to maximize community safety. As long as our local law enforcement is showing up for people every single day, regardless of their immigration status, that engenders confidence. And so protecting the welcoming city ordinance allows for us to continue to do all the necessary work to build the safest, most affordable big city in America. As far far as Springfield is concerned, you heard from many members of our congressional delegation and even from our faith community that as a local body, as a state body as well, we have to do everything in our power to protect the people of the city of St. Illinois. That's why I put forth the boldest, most progressive budget in the history of Chicago, challenging the ultra-rich and our largest corporations to contribute more skin in the game, to continue to make sure that we're protecting families who are gonna lose staff, who are losing healthcare, they're losing access to high-quality education, they're losing access to housing and transportation. And so my work in Springfield will challenge our state legislature as well as the governor to challenge corporations to put more skin in the game. So, you know, we're very clear about our position around raising the corporate income tax by less than 1% and generate hundreds of millions of dollars for our state. The Doodle Act tax is something that I believe has a lot of traction, and we support that. And then, of course, our personal property replacement tax. This is another way in which we can generate more revenue for corporations, and it will take some of the burden off of the local efforts if the state actually, you know, accepted this charge to protect the people of Chicago and state of Illinois from Trump's cuts.
Mayor,
I got it right here.
Hang on one second. First of all, we're only gonna take questions on the topic of immigration and this hearing and the work that our members are doing. So the mayor is here for any questions you may have later, but for this hearing, we are focusing on, for this moment, we're focusing on this topic. I wanna speak on sanctuary cities for a moment, because all of the research, and I've worked on this issue for over 30 years now, all of the research that when local law enforcement can spend their time and resources protecting communities and doing the work of local law enforcement, it actually increases public safety for everyone. When they cooperate with immigration enforcement, with federal law enforcement around immigration issues, it actually pushes people away, and it makes everyone less safe because people are afraid to report crimes that may be happening right there in their communities. They're afraid to work with local law enforcement. So we will continue to protect the rights of our cities to ensure public safety for everyone by not enforcing immigration law.
Mayor,
Yes.
Jim Kalinowski with
Right,
Center Square.
right behind you, right behind you. Yeah, right, I saw your hand first.
Yes.
Sorry, I don't know all the reporters in Chicago, so go ahead.
Craig Wall with ABC 7 here in Chicago.
Thank you.
Mayor, first of all, can you talk to us about what your hopes are for what this hearing might do to bring about some changes? And in light of that, as we think about immigration, are you considering any kind of remote learning for CPS schools because of all the kids who may be afraid to go to school?
Well, look, that fear is real, right? There are people who are afraid to go to school, who are afraid to go to work, and it's having a profound impact on our local economy. Many of these businesses have shown that they have lost revenue upwards of 30 to 40%. And so, as you know, the board is interested in asking the governor for a declared state of emergency. That's his authority. But that's something that I certainly believe that should be considered, right, to keep people safe. As far as the first part of your question, this is really about a union, a united front, that the entire country is pretty clear that this president is working outside of the constitutional authority that he possesses. So you're seeing cities all over the country that have modeled many of my executive orders. You saw it happen in Portland, suburban municipalities that are doing the same. This is really about showing a sign of strength, that whether you are documented or not, the fact that this president has declared war on poor people, we're talking about a group of individuals, part of the Democratic Party, who recognize that we should be declaring war on poverty. And not war on poor people.
But you think schools should consider going remote?
I said yes, but that's the governor's authority. They have to ask for a declared emergency, and I understand that they're pushing for that, but that's his authority, that's not mine.
Mayor, Jim Kalinowski of the Center Square, for you and the Illinois representatives, have any of you tried reaching out directly to the White House to try to set up a meeting with the president himself?
Well, I understand
to try
this
to
little
effect
noise over there is because he's destroying the entire wing of the entire White House. Work over there, I'm sure we would be open to having that conversation. Not about whether or not, and then please, Congressman Davis or Guy Paul, address this president is not interested in talking to us.
Have you tried?
Have we tried?
to meet with him one-on-one or as a group?
I mean, John Paul,
Robin and I have a word to say. He is not gonna meet with us. We can't even get him to meet with us. He and the Republicans are gone. He's flying out of the country. We can't even get him to meet with us about the shutdown. He certainly is not meeting with us about this.
Plus, he's tearing down the White House.
And he's more interested in prosecuting us than meeting with us. Just talked to Congresswoman Monica McIver from New Jersey, who was doing her due diligence, conducting oversight at a detention facility in Jersey, and was charged and is currently being prosecuted. So the answer to your question is no. This president is more interested in prosecuting us than in working with us or in listening to us. When we finally were able to meet with him to talk about the government shutdown and healthcare, Leader Jeffries told us that it seemed as if this president was hearing this information for the very first time, that people were gonna have healthcare premiums quadruple at the very least. So we all should be asking the president to listen to the citizens and community residents throughout this country about the war he is waging on the entire country, let alone Chicago.
Mayor Johnson.
Shy Guardian, I'm next. Shy Guardian Deep South Press Corps, Mark Armstrong. So it's come to through our cauldron sources, Mr. Mayor, that you're supposed to have filed a report on spending on illegal aliens in Chicago with the White House by now. What's happening with that, or what has happened with that?
We don't have illegal aliens. I don't know if that's
Well,
some
that's
sort
the
of
le- that's the
sci-fi
legal-
message
that's the
that
legal
you would
term.
have.
I'm not
Well,
going with
listen,
the political.
The legal term for my people were slaves. You want me to use that term too?
If
So
you
look,
want,
let's
if you
just get the
want.
language right. We're talking about undocumented individuals that are human beings. The last thing that I'm gonna do is accept the type of racist, nasty language to describe human beings. And so as far as our spending on Chicagoans, I put forth a $16.7 billion balanced budget that ensures that we're investing in education, transportation, housing, youth employment, environmental justice, as well as ensuring that we have safe communities. And we are going to challenge the ultra wealthy to pay their fair share. He's more than happy to look at that budget.
Is that
Mayor
in
Johnson,
that,
Alex,
is, hold on, is
really-
that in that report,
Excuse
and
me,
have you
excuse
sent that
me,
report
let me
yet
just say
to the
something
White
here.
House?
Alex,
Because
Let me
my
just
question
say
is not
something
answered.
right here. It is very important that people in Illinois and across the country understand the immigration system is a civil system. Undocumented presence in the United States is not a criminal offense. And so thank you for the
But
clarification
has
of
that
language
been
right
sent in
here.
a report to the White House?
Mayor Johnson, Jeff Buckles, WBBM News Radio. A quick follow-up to the question Craig Wall asked you about schools. I know it's the governor's responsibility to make an emergency declaration. Are you specifically asking the governor to make that declaration, and have you communicated with him about it?
Well, I have not spoken to the governor directly about it, but the authority sits in the Board of Education. That's their authority and responsibility. They expect, I don't know if they're actually gonna do that, but I understand that there's a worthwhile conversation around making sure that we're protecting all of Chicago.
Mayor Johnson,
Yes,
Alex,
yes, last
Washington,
question.
Chicago. Earlier during the hearing, a lot of people brought up Harold Washington's initial ordinances to basically make the city welcoming for immigrants. With everything that's happening on the ground, people are leaving from hearings to go do rapid response. At the city level, especially at the county level, or the state level, is there any consideration of legislation to refine what already is on the books in response to the tactics that are being used on the ground by federal immigration agents and citizens walking around with whistles, being detained, harassed, et cetera, by federal agents?
Yeah, it's terrorism, right? I mean, we saw Black Hawk helicopters, this is what Congresswoman Kelly was referencing, that landed on the top of buildings in the South Shore community, right? Where they put black folks in one van and immigrants in another van, zip-tied children. Look, this is not about safety, and it's certainly not about immigration. Because if it were about either one of them, he would use his executive leadership to actually put forth comprehensive proposals so that we can actually debate it. That's what democracy does. Now, in terms of how we are responding to the unconstitutional, unruly, ungodly, evil, wicked acts from this administration, it's why we have put forth multiple executive orders. One, to ensure we were the first city to do that, to ensure that these personalized, militarized occupation force in ICE cannot just set up their acts of raid in public spaces, particularly city-owned property. It's why we refined our Know Your Rights effort so that people could be educated. It's to know their rights so that all of our sister agencies and departments know what their rights are to keep people safe. An executive order to ensure that the fundamental right to protest and to peacefully assemble could be protected. Now, are there other things that we're considering? Absolutely. It's going to take a collective effort to respond to these unprecedented moments. You heard, well, maybe you didn't. If there was ever a time for working people to unite, this is that time. Because here's what we do know. The ultra-rich and the billionaires, they have certainly united against us. And so that's why we're calling people to do everything in our power on the ground, in the courts, in the streets, through executive action to make sure that we're keeping people safe. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mayor. Let me just end this by saying that, I came to the United States at 16 years old by myself as an immigrant, and I will be the first chair when we take back the House of the Immigration Subcommittee, my citizen to serve in that position. And when I think about Genesis's mother, Laura, when I think about the person that we spoke with yesterday who serves in armed services, is fighting on the line for our country, only to be called back to Chicago because his father has been deported by the time he gets here. When I think about the young woman who talked about yesterday,
Appreciate it. A second. Okay, yeah, lower the time, right? Okay, we just finished up the press conference here at City Hall, Chicago. Chicago Mayor Brandon Johnson. All things migrants, all things Trump, all things Chicago. I'm waiting for clearance to leave.
It's a little bit of a maze. Straight ahead.
Okay, let's see. All right, thank you. Thank you. Okay, again, this is Franchot Pearson. Thank you for joining me, Franchot Blue. We were live at City Hall. City Hall, Mayor Brandon Johnson speaking on the migrant crisis here in Illinois with Donald J. Trump and ICE. So yeah, I am, gotta wait, because they got dignitaries leaving out, so I have to wait. Please share the video. Please do the thumbs up, appreciate it. Let me see if we can get out of here. Let's see. This available? Thank you. Thank you.